to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of, Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. A special shout out to our Patreon family for all your support. We've stopped doing the news, but in case you want to see kind of what news is kind of breaking out there, especially to do with the pandemic, go ahead and consider joining our Patreon family for as little as $2 a month. Really want to thank everyone who has sent us, love donations through PayPal as well. There's a special gift that we've sent right back at you. And there's a lot of spiritual stuff that I'm sharing on there. But those are definitely stories for other days. Now, one of the questions I get a lot, and in emails I get a lot, is we all know what the problem is with Africa. We all know what the problem is with our people, with the melanated ones. We all know what's happened with slavery and colonialism. So why aren't we doing anything about it? And there's something called the DHR factor, because what we have to realize, beloveds, is that the world, there are many, many different principles that order this world. They're not spooky. They're not about belief. It's about knowing. It's about knowledge. And once you know them, you're able to navigate and really create a heaven on earth for yourself, and attract like a magnet all those amazing experiences to you. So knowing this, the opposite is also true, that your mind can be used against you. And that is what has happened with the Babylon system, the weaponized mind. I'll definitely do a show on that. But the reason a lot of our people, even with knowing, like with our leaders, they know what the colonialists did, but they're still taking these crazy loans. Why is it that we just can't get out of it? And it's all mental, because the primary principle is that the world is mental. You are what you think. You attract who you're mentally thinking about, kind of thing. And it's much deeper than that. But so the reason that a lot of our people find it very difficult to kind of get out of many of their even personal and individual quagmires or difficult situations, etc., or traps or prisons, some are self-imposed prisons, is because of three main reasons. And it's called the DHR factor. It's basically because many are in denial. Many think it will be such a mission, such a hassle to transform, to kind of put down the Babylon system, And thirdly, many fear ridicule because the majority of our people are still in the matrix. So if you dare to come out of the matrix, it is difficult, especially if most of your family is totally brainwashed or is suffering from the religious psychosis, because they will ostracize you. They become weaponized against you. That's how wickedly genius this system is, that even your own will fight you when you're trying to get your own liberation. And that's why many of us who chose ourselves to come into this space now and become the game breakers, become, the prison breakers, that's why from the start we were labeled as, either the black sheep or the underdog, or we were so misunderstood either by our, our peers, our family, where we've worked, etc., etc. It all has to do with this because we couldn't be in denial. We didn't have a choice. It wasn't a hassle to change. We didn't have a choice but to pursue the path of liberation. And we didn't fear ridicule because whether we liked it or not, people sometimes would have that ridicule spirit against us. That's the burden of being chosen. But remember, you chose yourself. So a lot of people are stuck in this denial. Like the thought, of actually absorbing what happened during colonialism and how our ancestors, our grandmothers were raped and abused and, just crazy things happened to them and they endured, We've kind of blocked that out, and then they didn't really share those stories because they didn't want to affect the mental kind of state of future generations. But it's in our blood, so we feel it whether we like it or not. If we look at slavery, it's just like there's so much denial there, and then it keeps being traumatically brought in front of our faces. And, it's not the whole story, beloveds, because our people were already in the Americas before this whole situation happened. Anyway, I'm not going to get too into that. But to answer your question, so that first thing is that denial. And then and so you have to overcome the denial of what has happened. And it means like almost reminding yourself daily. And it's not to be like, to get into the trauma of it, but never forget who did what to your people. Never forget where you came from. And try and remember that, because that has been erased. That's what they call the veil. The veil is over the mind, beloveds. You can't put a veil over a spirit. And so denial is the first thing, we have to accept. We have to accept everything that has happened to our people and continues to happen. And once you take that stance, it shouldn't make you weak. It shouldn't make you fearful. It should make you righteously angry, where you can stand, where you want to strengthen yourself so that you can be part of the solution for our people. So you must overcome the denial. The second thing is the hassle. Many don't want to go through the hassle of what it takes to change because it's not easy. You're literally deprogramming your mind, cleaning out your mind, cleaning out your entire system, detoxing, finding out all this information about even how to do that, because we're not trained. We're kept, they want to keep us at a spiritually infantile stage, So realizing how you can work with nature to take spiritual baths, to lie in nature and allow nature to heal you, etc., etc. But many just see it as a hassle because they've already gotten so into the system, and there's so much that is making you lazy and lethargic. There's so much, the fluoride in your toothpaste, all the chemicals being put in your water. All these things affect, the first eye, beloveds. And they make you lazy and all the distractions and programming. But look at everything they have to do to keep you distracted. They have to put on such a show. So that should tell you how powerful your mind is and why it is absolutely critical for you to protect it. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? We're talking about, one of the questions I always get is why, with everything we know about what's happening in Africa, with everything that has been revealed, all the books that have been written, all the documentaries that show, the gold being taken, the diamonds being dug out, all the drama that's going on. Why can't we change? And there's three factors, because you see, the Muzungu understood if he gets you at the mental, it doesn't even matter what other principles you try to apply to your life or what other gods you worship. If he gets you at the mental, he has you. And there's a famous quote, I don't know who said it, that, the most powerful tool in the hand of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And that's why everything he did, check out the video I did, colonialism, slavery, all of that was about the mental prison that we find ourselves in now. And that's why you realize, all of this is about, denial is about your mind. And then the hassle is about, getting your mind active and not only thinking, thinking and contemplating and meditating what has been happening, but also taking action. Putting your strategies and the kind of inspiration and intuition that you get of how to get yourself out of this mental matrix, actually taking action. But a lot of people see it as a hassle. And then you're kept so busy on this, on the, what is it called? the hamster wheel. Day in and day out, you're working, and working takes a lot of energy. All these things take your energy, so you don't have energy to even focus on yourself. That's why 2020 for the chosen was an absolute blessing, because it forced us to slow down. It shut so many things down that those who had that inherent power in them could do nothing but awaken and raise themselves up. And that's why there are many who have awoken. But if you think it's a hassle and you don't do the work, because I won't lie to you, it's not easy, but it's worth it. And so, you have to do the work for yourself. And thirdly, a lot of people don't do it because they fear what other people will think. They fear the ridicule of others. That's why they call it the DHR factor. The Mzungu has studied the mind. It's a science to him. Denial, it's a hassle, and I'm afraid of ridicule. And so the third thing is people care too much and put their destiny too much in other people's hands. Where you care so much about what other people will say, should you take a step to change and transform your life? And that's why, because you see, when you decide to change, everything starts to change. Because the life you see around you right now, the people you see around you right now, fit who you are right now. But if you start transforming and changing that, because one of the first things you have to do is like change your diet, change the things, the toxins that you're putting in your body. And once you start changing the toxins that you're putting in your body, it starts to also clear up the toxins in your mind. So when you're on that level and you start doing that, there are certain toxic people that you won't be able to even have in your life anymore. So everything, you see how everything it starts to just order itself. And so the big sign that your life is changing is the fact that your environment starts to radically shift. And the people who were always in your life start to also change. So if you fear the ridicule of others, especially your loved ones, this is a season, beloveds, where we're going away from the physical families and we're moving to our soul families. Because for many of us, the physical families can't give us what we need. They can't nurture us into the great, beings that we're supposed to be at such a time as that we chose to be. So, so those are the main reasons, beloveds. The fact that many of us are in denial of the nature of the beast. Many of us are in denial of how wicked the beast is. Many of us are in denial that our leaders are betraying us and putting us in the beast system. Secondly, many of us feel it's a hassle, so we're just trying to survive, trying to just, hoping that, I don't know, to just staying on that hamster wheel because it will be so much work. Yes, it will be work, but what do you want to save in your life right now? And many fear the ridicule of others. But if you come right down to it, it's all about you, beloveds. You entered here alone and you'll leave alone. Even if you leave with others, you'll still leave as your spirit. So you better start getting used to that. Anyway, thank you for joining us on Ask Dr. Mumbi. If you have any questions, always feel free to email us, Dr. Mumbi at drmumbishow.com, and we'll definitely consider your questions for a future episode. Until next time, tuko pamoja.